we are the Tech Shamans. Dude, I got this cool thing to show you. Really, man? Yeah, it's far out and technical and stuff. Awesome. Yeah. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Cool.
Well, happy or is it Merry pre-Christmas? Because it's not Christmas Eve yet.
Yeah, it's Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. Eve squared.
Merry Christmas Eve.
Like Pokemon.
I know it does. Hey, you know
Christmas
what?
Eve.
I'm almost. I shouldn't be ashamed to say this, but I probably should be ashamed to say it. Is I watched Pokemon for the third time. The movie Pikachu.
Third time?
Third
Pikachu
time.
Detective?
I just, you know what? I hate to say this, but everything that Ryan Reynolds is in, and I know we're tech guys, and I shouldn't be talking about this, but everything Ryan Reynolds, I watch now because. Have you seen Six Underground?
I think, yeah.
In Netflix?
That's the new one on Netflix.
Holy crap, dude! And he's
Put it on the list.
and he's the same funny, smart ass billionaire.
Yeah, he's been.
It's good. So, but happy Merry Christmas Eve. And we're going to talk about some stuff, and actually we're going to jump right out of the gate with this one because this is scary as all get out. Okay, so Adam, what happened? What happened, man? Tell me what happened to these people, because now I'm worried that you can't protect your computer at all.
Well, we had a small business that was just recently had their files encrypted. Luckily, we had backup solutions in place to get their stuff back.
It was not a voluntary encryption.
It was not a voluntary encryption. This was a malicious attack on their company. 35 years in business, and in a case like this, they could have lost everything. I mean, they have some downtime right now. Trust me, this not just you can just fix it and go away, but we're talking,
I mean, was it just a random attack? Did somebody just find an open door and nailed them? And
Yeah.
if so, how did they leave the door open?
Random attack. Basically, if you're running a business that runs any kind of server, for instance, inside your place of business, I see it all too often. Clients like to use this server because they started off their business small. They installed all their software onto their main computer that the owner of the company usually has, and then they usually keep running with that same computer and never get off of it. They use that computer for everything, including managing and running their company. And
which is the server box,
which is the
main
box.
server box. They're using that to run everything in the company, which kind of makes sense if you've got all the shared files and stuff.
That's correct. But we should not be using it as a PC. We shouldn't be using it to surf the internet, check your emails, things like that. Those you should keep away from the server, and make sure that your either server shares are encrypted, or and make sure you have some kind of backup plan on that server too. For those files that are, needed to run your business.
So how did this happen? You can't. I mean, I know you can't really go into massive
There's
details.
tons of ways it can happen. It can happen from opening an email that was sent maliciously. It could have been from surfing the internet looking for drivers for a printer, for say, to reinstall a printer. Something simple that somebody would assume that would be okay to do. That something like that could be done. Leaving open remote desktop protocol on their computer, and having it exposed to either the outside, or allowing somebody to maliciously get into their computer and see the remote desktop and where the computer's located, and try to access it that way. There's a lot of different ways, but for the most part, emails, phishing scams, fake support texts that say, hey, I see you bought a new device, and we're here to help you install it. Let's get going. And next thing you know, you're having some problems. You call them trying to save some time or money, and next thing you know, you're under attack. So, and once they install the software starts encrypting the files almost immediately. It will take, depending on the size of the data that you have in a computer, it will take some time, so you really won't know until either the next day or a few days down the line that you're having problems. And in that case, it encrypts not only just the data files, but also like Windows files inside your computer, resource files, in order to just be able to log in.
So ultimately, nothing will open or work.
Nothing
on
will
your
open.
computer.
Nothing will work. You will have to. You have two choices. If you haven't had a backup solution in place, you got to hope that you're dealing with, you know, a good group of guys that are willing to.
A good group of hackers.
Good group
who
of
are
hackers
willing
that are
to
willing to
sell you
the
your
decryption
information
tools. Yeah.
back for a reasonable price.
Yes.
And be able to do it without completely obliterating all your data in the process.
And not only that, you know, we spoke about this before too. Even the FBI says don't pay them, because if you pay them, you're just adding to the problem, because they know that they can get away with it. You know, the more people that pay them, the more times that they're going to keep trying.
The longer they will stay. Yeah,
So,
you're negotiating with terrorists is what
yeah,
you're doing.
Yeah, you're negotiating with terrorists.
So, okay, but is there a way to stop all this?
Disconnect your computers from from the internet.
Okay, that's phase
stay off
one.
the internet.
That's phase one. I love
Phase
that.
one.
Okay,
no,
well,
man.
that's right. So they're
All
really...
right, so we're going to do that all right now, everybody.
All right,
Bye.
So there really is no solid way to keep this from...
They're keeping it from happening. There's just the only thing that there really is to do is to just play it safe. You know, have backup solutions in place. You know, figure how long can your business be down while, you know, your recoveries are happening.
Right.
Just to let you know, the solution we had in place for this client was Carbonite, and they had about 100 gigs of data that had to be restored. We're talking 35 hours or more, depending on your internet speed,
Good
just to
Lord.
recover those files. And that's not rebuilding the server and rebuilding the box and everything and resetting back up the network shares and putting
Right.
everything back in place. That's just to get the data back. And we have to do it in a way where we can contact, you know, for instance, the supplier of the backup and say, hey, look, you know we've been attacked on this day, and we need all the files restored back prior to that day so we can get back into our information. You know,
How do you know how far back to go, though? Because you just said that it may take 2-3 days for it to go through and do everything. So if you restore to a version
well, what we do
that already had the issue,
then you bring back the issue.
you bring back the issue. Exactly.
So what we do is, for instance, what was happening is when we were called on site, the server was taking all those encrypted files that had already been changed and was uploading it to their account. And what was happening is it was sending those files up and deleting their old files that
Got
were
it.
on their Carbonite account.
Okay.
So what we do is we take a look at the day that the file was changed, and you can see that they say, you know, this particular day. you
Right.
know, and you'll see they all been time-stamped on the day they were encrypted.
Right. So these are all timestamped on the 19th. So you backed it up to the 18th.
Correct. So we back it up from the 18th. So we say, okay, we take a look. Carbonite was great. You know, by the way, they were able to take a look and find the exact extension that was on.
Well, I
everything.
hear they're pretty good to work for.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, work with.
Yeah, they did a great job.
How was your experience? Did you have to call them or anything?
Give them a call. They took a look at the extension. I had them double check the extension that was on all the files.
Yeah.
So they looked at a backup report. They were able to search for that extension across all those files that were uploaded and found that the backup on the 18th did not have any files of that nature.
Okay.
Then I asked to find any kind of, I knew where the virus would normally go, so we went and looked for like app data changes in
Right.
the customer's file there and make sure that nothing was, changed in those files and everything was fine and clean. So we just rolled it back to that date. They give us an installer to reinstall it. They even remotely helped get that installer set up
Wow.
and configured.
That's pretty good.
We hit go and we waited.
Yeah.
We waited and
Which-
watched as everything came in, made sure the computer doesn't, shut
Yeah.
down prematurely or reboot.
Yeah. So if this
Allow
happens
it.
on a Monday or Tuesday and you're down for 2 days,
Yeah, you already know
this
you're
is
going to
a
be
nightmare scenario.
Yeah, you're going to be rebuilding your server for a good day or two, not
So-
including the data recovery.
Of course, you changed all the access that
Yeah,
person was able to.
everything's being
New
changed.
passwords.
The computer has to be completely wiped. We have to start over with a fresh operating system. Delete any boot partitions on the drive. Start it all over again, and reinstall all software. Make sure we have everything.
That's what, like 15 minutes?
Oh yeah, no.
So
Like I
that's-
said-
so technically, they're down almost 4 days.
Right, but just you can be down 4 days. But what if you had a business in a case like this, 35 years, and you had 35 years of client data, and you just lost it all?
You just torched it.
God.
Because one person
Right.
may have used the computer to do something silly.
Correct.
Not exactly function related to what it's supposed to be used for. And so many people do not actually consider that that's what it's there for. So keep it to its designated purpose.
Correct.
Do not stray
Yeah.
from the path. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes,
It is not the
putting
way.
little bit of money into your business to keep yourself safe, or, for instance, software packages, software doesn't last forever, and it's not supported forever, and you need to budget for,
Right.
3 to 5 years, especially like, for instance, QuickBooks.
Yeah.
If you have QuickBooks in your business and you need it
Yep.
to run your business,
Yeah.
and say, for instance, you're upgrading your operating system, you find out that the old QuickBooks no longer supports the new operating system you have, and say, for instance, it's 6 years out, okay? QuickBooks will not allow you to take that company file that's that old and upgrade to the new version. It doesn't work that way. If you skipped versions, then you need to get that middle version, upgrade
Wow.
the database to that version. After you upgrade the database to that version, then you can upgrade it to the new version. Well, that middle one might not be available for sale, or they're going to jack that price up.
Right.
They're going to jack it up considerably. So, each time you
Yeah,
buy
but you can always
QuickBooks-
find it on eBay, like on CD-ROM.
Yeah.
You sit there and download it. Yeah. That works every time.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, the same guy that hacked in will be the same guy that sells it to you.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. He's
Exactly.
selling it to you. Run me first.
Yeah.
Oh, it's encrypted again.
.exe.
No. Oh,
Do you
jeez.
remember back the day when all this was a new thing back in the day? They stopped letting us put executables in emails.
Yes. Yeah.
You can't play a video. You can't launch your website. You can't do this. You can't open it. Executables are not allowed. I mean, it's like everybody was being like YouTube. They just clamped down and overthought it instead of saying, "Hey, you need to have some stuff in place before you even think about doing all this."
Yeah.
It's a scary situation. You just got to make sure you plan ahead. It's like say for instance with you, John.
Yeah.
You're not talking 35 hours to recover your data.
Oh Lord. No.
So in a case like this, if I was reading correctly, they will even send you a hard drive.
well, really?
Yeah, to help you recover your
That's
data.
pretty. I mean, I would love to be able to use someone like that instead of the way we do it but unfortunately, we're talking terabytes,
Yeah. Yeah.
multiple terabytes.
Yeah, and people just, sometimes you think, wow, I'm protected and stuff. But look at a case like this.
Yeah.
What if we didn't have 35 hours?
Right.
What if we took a snapshot on a hard drive periodically and just stored it off to the side and said, hey, at least we can come back for, maybe we can come back 4 or 5 days, what we can get done in 30 minutes on an external drive, and then allow those older files, the newer files to come back from, Carbonite.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. If they were taking the files and uploading them to their site, wherever that was, is that what was happening? They were taking the files and basically moving them off-site, uploading them to another location?
The
The pirates were. Yeah.
No. They ran a
They
script.
left it.
They left it in place and let
Right.
the computer do its own work to destroy the files.
Right. Okay.
So
Could
death,
they?
death
Could
by
they
that
though?
server,
Yeah.
that serves you.
But could they have taken those files and then just uploaded them?
They
35
Because-
hours.
Yeah,
Well,
again,
whatever.
They
The
could
point being, I mean, if this was probably not a medical office,
no.
but if
and-
you think about HIPAA requirements,
oh yes,
and
yes.
you get into a situation where you've got a hospital or a clinic that's
they
running
have
on
no
a server,
choice. They have to immediately go ahead and record that and tell the FBI and stuff, hey, we've been hacked, blah blah blah. This is what happened. There's requirements.
The medical
in the
records
medical
have all been
fields.
exposed at this point.
Yeah.
And at that point, if these guys have happened to hack into a medical, okay, they are more likely. I mean, even if you're going to say, no, I'm going to use Carbonite and get out of here, they're going to go, well, then I'm just going to data mine you.
Right.
Okay, and I'm going to pull everything I can out of this that's sellable at that point.
Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah. Think about companies that do keep credit card files,
Credit card information.
numbers on file.
Yeah.
Say they kept a spreadsheet of clients' credit cards on file for billing purposes.
Yep.
That's a major security.
I have clients all the time ask me, hey, why don't you keep asking for my credit card to pay and blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
Right.
yep, I destroy everything.
Exactly. There's no.
I don't want to be reliable for nothing. If
You will not say, hey, I've been hacked, and then say, I know somebody who's got my card number on file.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Nope.
Right.
So
Well, that was one heck of a fun topic.
Yes.
Wow.
Glad that worked out for them from a Carbonite standpoint, though.
I mean, I know in that case that was a mistake made by the person that allowed that to happen. But I'm hearing now that you can put all the firewalls you can put all that stuff in place, and they're still getting through.
Just think of it this way: if they had network shares on that server, for instance, that same tool that was encrypting those files could have then propagated all the way through their whole network, every single one of their computers.
Every computer. Yep.
Every computer could have been shut down.
Yep.
Right. And it was isolated.
And possibly even go to home computers from there.
And it was isolated.
If somebody was logged into the network.
Yes. If somebody
Wow.
had a VPN service, for instance,
Yep.
and VPN'd into it, and had like a network share attached,
Right.
that would have just continued right through the share.
So people protect your stuff.
Protect your
Yep.
stuff.
Oh my
Backup
God.
solution. Backup your data.
I mean, I got to tell you how frequently we get the alert emails on our websites when people trying to hack them, brute force hack, and having to lock out IP after IP after IP after IP, because they're going after it. And these are just any old websites. I mean, I see little places selling handmade soap that are getting, these brute force attacks.
And and people don't understand. It's not the computer or the technology that is what is so precious. It's your data.
Yeah.
Data is portable. You can take your data and put it wherever you want. Your computer goes bad. Okay, we'll just move your data to another computer.
And that's when I have these kids that come work for us, and they're like, "Hey, can I just work from home?" Nope.
Nope.
No, you
As a
cannot.
matter of fact, we did have another client that had that from home. We were called out. They were a company that does like visiting nurses type stuff, and they had a server in their office, and they had remote nurses that would remote in and do their paperwork.
Yep.
And one of them remoted into the server, and she had a virus on her computer that propagated to the server. It was an encryption tool. It encrypted all the files in the server. They lost 12 years worth of client information and data. And again, that's another one a variant that was not able to be decrypted. They lost everything.
Wow.
That's just sad.
And they didn't have Carbonite
No,
to
they had
back
no
up their
backup
server a
solution.
day and say, okay, sorry, and what does Carbonite cost? And no, this is not a commercial for Carbonite. Okay, don't get me wrong. They got nothing to do with this. We're just talking about it because we had a really good experience with them, and that's what we shared here.
I believe standard users are like standard home PCs, like $5 per month, and then for businesses where you can have up to 25 computers on the plan, but it's only 250 gigs of storage.
Right.
Not bad.
But that plan was $24 a month, and then $50.
Whoa. You're talking under $50 a month. I mean, that's like lunch at Panera's,
Right.
okay,
Especially in a business
for you and a friend, okay, for the business plan.
Yeah.
Literally, I know, because it's like $30 for two people to have lunch at Panera's now.
You can do the same one.
Because I eat a lot of food.
Yeah, 50 for him. Yeah,
They could do
so-
the same one for $50 a month, and it included HIPAA compliance, 256-bit encryption, 25 computers or end users, and also 500 gigs.
Nice.
But see, the thing is, it may sound, some people it may sound a little bit expensive, but also for what we dealt with in this case, the support on their end, call them up, and they didn't charge anything extra except for what they already pre-purchased.
Right.
They were able to restore those files back, and with our knowledge of what needed to be done, they followed suit, brought us the data that we needed, and 35 hours later we're still recovering, but look,
Yeah,
you know,
but you're not dead.
that's you know, most
Yeah, you're only mostly dead.
Yeah, most places would charge you a lot more, you know, more money on top of, you know, yeah, we supply the plan, but if you want our support, it's going to be additional
Right,
fee.
yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, and we're looking at the price now. Core, 24, 50, 83. That's ultimate. Blah blah blah. But here's the thing, and this is not just a business thing. This is a personal thing.
yeah.
Because I think there's some people out there who's got so much stuff on their personal laptop at home. I'd rather them get my business than my personal.
Look, I can tell you from experience.
That's just a lot of information.
Hard drive fails on
You're
your
paying
computer.
your bills.
The hard drive fails, and you have to replace it. You know, that's a drop in a bucket. Now, if you have to recover the data from a dead drive that breaks or
that's
the hard,
expensive.
we're talking
my God.
minimum for software problems on the drive of $500.
Yep.
And then upwards of $1,500 or more for data recovery in a lab.
I had a forensic, and I love this word, forensic level recovery done from a company out of St. Pete, and they specialize in it. That cost me $4,500.
Yeah.
But I had to have it because there's no way I could go back and reshot what I shot.
Exactly, and you can't
And I had 5 projects that thing got. Now we didn't get hacked; it just got It got destroyed. So.
Yeah. So in any case, whether or not it's hacked, encrypted, whatever, now if say for instance they were on vacation. Imagine if they were on vacation, and that server was able to back up all. I stopped it at 78%. It was able to back up all those files, and also started propagating through the whole network. Just imagine if they were gone, or even if for the whole weekend.
That would have been even cheaper to fix.
Oh yes.
No, really, you just start over at that point.
Yeah,
Never mind.
Oh yes,
35 years of data, we got paper.
We got paper.
It'll all be put in by hand.
Oh my goodness.
Lord.
Yeah.
That's not good.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for that. Yeah.
Well, thanks for scaring us today, Adam.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, that was
there's
great, Adam.
There's your. Well, we have another show coming. Well, before New Year's Eve. I think we have another show before New Year's Eve. I think we do.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it'll be New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. See, we're Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, and it's really good that we have these. And these are conversations that you need to have. And if you don't know you need that and you think you need it, email us at techshamans@webeamtv.com and I'll get you in touch with Adam. He's actually he's probably in the description too, so that his phone number is in the actual show notes. So let's talk about I'm trying to put it politely. You tell them what we're talking about.
Today we're going to talk about
I have a way to say it, but I'm
brilliant ideas and why you shouldn't use them.
Yeah. That is a nicer way of putting that I was going to put
I'm
it.
the marketing guy, okay?
Yep.
We're going to talk about SRO. And first of all, you're going, what's SRO? A lot of people don't realize search engine optimization, SEO, is what you kind of do at the beginning when you build your site to make sure that the crawlers can scan your site, that everything's indexed right, that all your tags are right, that all your categories are right. You do all that stuff right up at the beginning. That's part of setup, okay? So that engines can get through it easily. It's like paving the road, okay? That's what SEO is. However, if you want people to drive on your road, then you need to do SRO, which is search result optimization. With search result optimization, what you're doing is you're giving people a reason to drive on your road. It's not just having a road that's easy to drive on. And I think I've probably used the road analogy enough at this point. So,
trying to drive that point home.
I'm going to drive that point home, yeah. Because I'm a driver, right? Sorry, pun. But the key, though, is to make sure that people want to find your website. And they're able to when they're looking for it. Some people will have a great idea on what they should do, what they should call their site, or they have an idea like right now. Of course, Star Wars is really big, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna have something called the Rose of Skywalker, and I'm gonna sell flowers that look like a Jedi. Whatever. Okay, the Rose of Skywalker. Isn't that a great idea? It's going to be so great. I'm going to make so much money because everybody's going to understand that I'm buying these roses that are shaped like, the Jedi symbol, and that'll be great. It'll be the Rose of Skywalker. Look at that. In 2 minutes, I just came up with an entire business plan. However, there's an issue when you do that, and that is that you are now hoping you'll be found on the internet. Of course, now you can use Web 2.0 and sink a ton of money into going out there and getting your message in front of people, and you're going to pay to, for ads, and you're going to pay for everything, and that's the only thing you can do is pay for it, pay for it, pay for it. And then when somebody hears about you, how do they find you? It's like, oh yeah, my friend told me about the site. Let me go look up the Rose of Skywalker. And what is Google going to do?
They're going to bring you out of all the Star Wars stuff. Right?
They're going to correct your typo.
Yeah.
Is what they're going to do. And they're going to show you 9,387 pages, okay, of the Rise of Skywalker, because you shouldn't have named it the Rose of Skywalker.
Yeah, because you're fighting 40 years.
You're fighting 42 years of cultural SRO. Okay, that name has been used 1 million times now. Yeah. Okay, and you're going to come back with 10 million hits on it. It's like, oh my God, there's 10 million hits, and yeah, and none of them are you. Okay, you're back on page. This will never be seen by any human being ever in the history of the world. Okay, so using something that has decades of history, it may sound cool, it may sound like a neat idea, it may sound like fun, but you will never, ever, ever be found. Right. Because the way Google works, there's a couple things here, and actually Facebook works the same way, so people should probably understand this. When you go to search for, best places to eat in Tampa, for, fried kangaroo meat, whatever the hell you're eating.
Don't go to John's house. Even though it's going to say that, don't go to John's house.
I promise you it will not say John's house.
I'm tired of cooking.
Especially the kangaroo meat, which is what he cooks.
Oh my gosh.
You're going to end up with a bunch of search results on your ranking page. Okay, it's going to come back. Here's your first page, and you're going to see those. And you go, oh, there's one there that says John's house. I'm going to see it's the #1 ranked thing. I'm going to click on it. Well, Google never actually went out to the internet and looked for all that stuff in that split second that you were asking the question. There's no time for it to do that. Instead, Google has sent out robots, crawlers, spiders, whatever you want to call them, over the course of months and years beforehand, and has brought all this information back and has cataloged it on their servers. So it now has the words, the images, everything that you're looking for indexed according to its own search parameters. And so what you're seeing on the screen, and you've all had this, you click on, oh, look, John's house. You click on it, it's like no such website. That's because the robot hasn't gone back since that website died to see if that website is still there.
Right.
And so you end up with a dead link, and we've all had that happen. Well, the same thing happens with Facebook. If you are posting from your own business website, taking an article you wrote on there, and you're putting it over to Facebook, you have one chance to do that right. Because the instant you post it over there, Facebook grabs that information just like Google did. It'll grab the featured image from the article, it'll grab the beginning text of the article, it'll grab the title, and that then becomes Facebook canon for what that link at that URL, at exact URL, is about. And no matter what you do on your end, oh my God, there's a, how much I live Star Wars. It's like, I meant to write love. Okay, so you go in and you change the title of your article, and you go back to Facebook and you look, and it's how much I live Star Wars, and you can never, ever, ever change it. You have to actually kill the post on Facebook, go back, create a brand new post with a completely unique, yeah, like that needed to be, a unique URL, okay, for that article, and then you can go ahead and repost that new article on Facebook or any of the other social media, because they're just going to grab that snapshot. Mm-hmm. So whatever your snapshot is, whatever that is, that's what's going to be indexed. And if you're fighting 40 years of people indexing stuff, don't. You may think it's clever, you may think it's smart, you may even be able to get a trademark on it, okay? But don't bother. It's not worth your time. Be creative, come up with something new, come up with something original. Come up with a combination of words that you look at it and there's like 9 returns on it. Mm-hmm. You can do that. They are out there. We have done that. We had one client, it was a couple of years ago, and it was an insurance agency. And he had a great name for his insurance agency. And let's just, pretend for a second that it was, I'm not even going to make anything up right now.
ABC Insurance.
It was better than that, okay? The problem was it was also the name of a major insurance product, okay? So let's imagine he was like Liberty Insurance, okay? And that's the name of it, Liberty Insurance Agency. And so you go out looking for Liberty Insurance, you're going to get Liberty Mutual. They're going to dominate it, okay? He was Liberty Insurance. But if you put in, but he had a long name, like Liberty Insurance and Casualty, or Liberty Insurance Services in Newport Richey. Okay, if you put that in as your search, you still didn't get his website.
Wow.
He'd had his website up for 8 years. You still didn't get it. Why? Because the person who built his website never set it for SEO in the first place.
Right.
So the only place his name appeared in full was in an image, which had no tags, no nothing. It was one of the best cases of correcting the SEO and the SRO, because in I think 72 hours we had him on page 1 when you actually search for his business name now. It didn't take long. We had to tell, hey, come crawl the site.
Right.
This is what it's about. And so now at least if somebody searched exactly for his name, they could at least find him now and find his insurance agency. And that is, but again, if he had chosen something other than Liberty, and that of course was not the real name, I'm making that one up. I actually did come up with something to use. If he'd chosen something other than that, would he have done even better at getting more results from people who have heard about him, may have known something about it? And then, because gathering that traffic is really why you're out there.
Yeah.
You want the people to find you. You want them to find your website. You want them to be able to come in and understand what it is you're selling or showing. Or if they happen to be looking for something in your area, then you want it to show up, which is, I'm going to digress just a little bit more, because if we're looking at rankings and search ranking optimization, having your website be mobile enabled is absolutely crucial, because something like 52 or 54%, and this was a couple of years ago, I need to get a new stat on that, it's only gone up since then, of searches for local businesses are done on mobile devices. And because people are out driving around and they're looking for it. And they want to know what your hours are. They want to know what your phone number is. They want to know if you have that item in stock, if you're the kind of store that carries that. Okay, so they ran this search, and they're looking for it. And if your website is not mobile enabled, Google will bump you way back in the listings. Because you're not serious. You're not serious about helping Google's customers. And so you will get knocked back and basically delisted. So even though you may have a beautiful website and you love it and it's pretty, you've got to make sure it is mobile friendly, and that it adapts automatically to the different platforms. And Google can tell who does that. And then if you want to optimize these things, you've got to make sure your website does that. Because there's nothing worse than opening up a website on your phone, and the first thought that goes through your mind is, oh, hey, the 90s called, they want their website back. Okay, and that is, we use that line a lot when it's like client calls up and says, here's my website, and we're like, oh god, it's been a while, hasn't it? I love the flashing text, by the way, that's really nice.
Or the load screen.
Yes. I'm okay with a load screen. That means a big image is coming up. I'm okay with that right now.
No,
Just
no,
give me
no.
a second.
You know the little dancing things they had?
Oh my god.
The flash ones?
No, sorry, that was a long time ago. Wow.
Or flash pages that would launch and you had to click here to enter the site?
Oh, I would rather just have Clippy right there.
Yeah, just log me, give us your email before you go in. Nope. Here, I'm out.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So these are just some pieces that you have to understand for search result optimization. And make sure you have a mobile site is a great example of search engine optimization. It has nothing to do with your content. It has nothing to do with what you actually do.
Right.
It has to do with how you deliver it. And that is today's marketing lesson.
Well, I'm going to throw another
Namaste.
thing out there, too, is, in the last couple of weeks, these are the questions I get, or the statements I hear. Well, I want to be on every platform. Hey, Rob, go to the wide shot, please. That's just too dark. They're like, why I want to be on everybody. I want to be on Instagram and Twitter and blah, 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 blah. Why?
Do one, do it right.
Yeah, if you can't do one right, don't do the rest of them right, first of all.
Don't do the rest of them wrong as well.
If people are looking up your nose while you're trying to do a video, if I see it drives me insane that they're all looking down at the camera. I'm like, no. First of all, that's rule number one. Don't do that. So if you're going to pick two, or me personally, we're two. We do a third, but I don't really care about it, but I just do it. So we use YouTube because we use YouTube as a CDN.
Right.
A content delivery network. In other words, that's how people get to watch my reruns. Now, my number one is my website. That's what I care about. And now, we'll throw to Facebook. Like some of you watch us on Facebook right now. We do it just because we can. I don't have to use a company called Restream. They're a good company. I don't just hardly tell anybody if you want to hit every platform out there, go to Restream. But here's what I have found in the social media world: if someone follows you on Facebook, then they're following you on Instagram already.
Right. So
you don't need Instagram. Twitter, you get lost in time, and I don't know if anybody understands it, but I put social medias in time constraints. So, like YouTube is a day. You're good. Facebook is in hours. Twitter and Instagram are milliseconds. I don't even put them in the seconds category because you get buried so quickly. And again, I'm going to go back to this whole thing about a closed platform. LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, closed platforms. So if people don't have an account, which I would say almost 60 to 70% of people walking the face of the earth have one, right?
If you're talking Facebook?
Yeah. Facebook, Instagram.
Some kind of social media account. I think
Those are
you're higher
closed.
than that. If you're looking at your target markets, you're looking at 90+%.
Right. But those are closed. So if you get a client that doesn't have those, or really has them but doesn't really pay attention to them, then they're not going to see your video.
Right.
YouTube, even though it's technically closed, it's still open because you don't need a
Google account.
To watch.
To watch, exactly.
But for them to like you, share you, then they have to have a Google or a YouTube account. If you have a Google account,
they can still share you without one.
You have a YouTube account. You just got to go set it up.
Yep.
So that's why I'm saying those two. And now we also run to Twitch just because we can.
Yeah.
Not a big deal in my personal opinion, but it is what it is, right? So if you're gonna pick a platform, pick a platform. If you want to go to Facebook and you religiously go to Facebook, go to Facebook. But because if you go to Facebook, it gets shared over to Instagram anyway.
Yeah.
If your account's set up correctly, it will automatically do that. Twitter, I wouldn't waste my time. Now there's some people that like Twitter over Facebook, and again, that's your preference. But you got to understand that with Twitter and Instagram, it gets piled on so quick.
Like, for example, there are some industries that are married to Twitter. You won't find them on Facebook. You won't find them on LinkedIn. You won't find them at any of those places, but you will only find them on Twitter. One is the publishing industry.
Right.
Agents and editors are 100% on Twitter.
Yeah.
And that's like the only place you can find them and the only place you can converse with them, and they will tell you to go there to have your conversation with them there.
Right.
And that is, so you may have some industry-specific, avenues that require it, but if you're talking general public, you're right, the Twitter stuff just flies by so fast that while you're looking at it, you're already disappearing off your own page.
Right.
And so it's kind of a nightmare.
John, have you ever used IFT?
What?
IFF?
Nope.
IT? No?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Should check that out.
IFT.
Yeah. So you remember back in school, if then that statements?
Oh yeah.
Programming
stuff.
Right. So they have I've been using it for years. If this happens, then do this. And they have tons and tons of apps that you can connect to. It's a free account. And you can connect your Facebook, you can connect your Twitter. For instance, when the beginning of the month comes, then I have it send out, one statement. every single month.
That's a nerd site.
Every single month.
That is a nerd programmer site.
If you,
it is cool though.
If you send a post to Facebook, then you attach your Twitter account and send that same post and recreate into Twitter.
I'll be dang.
And you can do it across. You could have your light bulbs turn on in your house through Wemo lights, and then you can have it send a tweet out at the same time. You can have all these different things interact.
What do you send out into the Twitter world? Oh, my lights are going on.
Lights are on. Holy cow!
They'll leave me in the dark.
You can do whatever you want. That's the great thing. And whatever you can think of, you can do with all these different tools, and even tools that don't have interconnection.
Right.
Like say for instance, Alexa versus app, a different software package. You can connect them together with IFT, which is great.
Yeah, it's ifttt.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So
fun,
Jennifer
fun
Parker has a question for us. There's different types of platforms like Square, PayPal, for accepting payments. Which do you guys prefer and why? I like Square.
May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I used PayPal for a very long time and was pretty impressed with it because back when I was searching and hunting and establishing what I was going to do, it was absolutely the best. Square was a pain in the butt. It seemed very complicated and convoluted. And, looked at a couple other ones, Cash App and so on. Those are pretty good. But then had reason to go back and revisit Square again, and it is stellar.
Yeah.
They have upgraded it so far since the last time I looked at it. They have leapfrogged PayPal something fierce. And it is a full business platform now.
I used both for a long time. I used to use something called Stripe too, and I just won't use Stripe anymore. They're a joke. But I left PayPal completely and went over to Square.
Yeah.
Because in Square I can do payroll.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, it's become a complete business platform.
I can do everything that PayPal did. I can do that as well as I can run my store. I can run my invoicing. It to me is the biggest thing. That's for me. It's just I can send my invoice out and I can ask for partial payments.
Yeah.
I don't have to ask. I don't have to deposits full. I can do all that with. And I've been using Square since the inception of Square. I used them back in the day.
When it was Circle.
Oh, so bad. I love Square, but let me tell you, in the beginning, double and triple and quadruple charges. Our clients are calling me going, "You hit me 3 times for that one." I'm like, "I'm sorry." And what happened? It was all a data thing. Because back then the your data on your phones and tablets were not perfect, and we weren't not perfect now.
Yeah, it was
super weak.
Yeah.
So if you got an area where it wasn't weak enough, well, it would charge it, and then when you got into a service where it would reconnect,
a better cell zone,
it would recharge.
Yeah.
And then it would recharge. You're like, whoa.
Which was great for business on your end.
Yeah, clients a little upset with that.
Once.
But I like Square, Jennifer. I've been using it for a long time. And they're super easy to set up. You gotta, you can get back in the back. We have 3 dongles. We have the little square one. We have the RFID one, and then we have the new one coming that they just came out with. We can take your phone. So
I mean, and if you have an iPad, the Square apps for that are just phenomenal. Everything you can do on them, all the signatures, all the emails, all the you can have your products, you can have your product menu. Now you can do that with PayPal as well.
Yeah,
okay, in all fairness, you can, because I've done that. Okay, set it up. Had choose this item, this item, this item, this item. It all just puts it in. It's all got its you've already set everything up in there. Square does the same thing, only prettier. And simpler, and so it's like Square has leapfrogged.
Yeah,
the security is just as good.
Yeah.
So
no, that's not saying much, but yes, because we've all had PayPal hacked.
That's hey, Chuck Rtaylor Jr. says hi. I like people say hi. But
Merry Christmas to you too, Dan.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you, Dan. Merry Christmas there, Mr. Chuck. So here's something I want to talk about because we've talked about all the stairs. Amazon Ring has been blaming reused passwords but now thousands of logins have leaked. So they've been hacked. Now, I saw this. This came out December 19th, and this is nothing new. We've all known this. But I watched a news story the other day where this family was watching TV, and out of their Alexa, and because how they take Ring and they'll put Alexa, they'll all match them up, so you can see in Google. Well, they heard voices coming from their units, and it come to find out they had gotten the password from Ring, and then was able to get into the back end of their Google and their Alexa.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you just got to remember
Home
when
security.
you're putting this smart stuff in your phone, it's smart stuff.
Nothing beats a
This
deadbolt lock.
equipment is
I'm
smart.
sorry.
It's not dumb. And a lot of it is using a lot of the AI software now.
Yeah.
So it's learning. It's constantly going. And, yeah, so that is just one of those things where you're going to run the risk when you put technology that pays attention to what you're doing inside your house. This could be a problem.
I've noticed a lot of companies now have been using AI to basically track, like say for instance, you're using a password that you've used before.
Yep.
And you start setting up your account, and with that particular email, it checks it against known released email
And
passwords, and bam, if you use it again, they're telling you no.
When we set up a driver's site for a client, it does that.
Yeah.
It says, no, don't use that.
Nope, slaps you on the hand.
Yeah, it will. It'll force you to choose a different password.
Yeah.
Because we won't let that in because it's a key to our back door.
Exactly.
Right.
And talk about key to the back door. I mean, Ring is perhaps the best example of a literal key to the back
and of
door.
all things, they should have had two-factor authentication turned on at the beginning.
See, a lot of people don't do that because it's a pain in the rear end.
Well, that should have been a mandatory thing, just
It should
to
be.
protect themselves.
I think it should be mandatory on any of your devices. You got to.
Yeah.
Today, you got to.
Just quick explanation, two-factor authorization is where you log in with your password, but then the site sends you a login ID number, which you then have to put in. Apple has made that incredibly easy to use, whereby as soon as that comes up, it recognizes the text message on your phone or on your iPad, and it'll go, do you want to use this number right now that just came in by text? And you just click on the number and it auto-fills it and you're done. So you don't have to sit there and try and go back and forth remembering, the 6 digits. So they've made it incredibly easy to use the 2FA on that, and so, yeah, less reason to not use it.
And since we were on social media a while ago, 16 predictions for social networks in 2020. Disinformation. All of them they all struggle with this. They're trying to lock it down where it keeps
But
not happening.
well, the problem is that there's no such thing as an absolute truth.
Right.
Okay, there are perceptions, there are opinions, and I mean Zuck has gone out and said, who am I to say your opinion is wrong? And he got blasted for that.
Right.
Okay, just absolutely lambasted because the people who think they can decide whose opinion is right are out there ready to kill him because he's not advocating for their right opinion. And it's like, it doesn't really matter because, I mean, history will be the judge. We may not know some of these things for 50 or 100 years.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, when they can finally release information and, we can finally find out what happened at Roswell, which we never will, but...
Okay, so let's take one of these things. The metrics on your social media, they're going invisible. And one of the things that was said is Instagram reportedly ditched like counts because it lied to people.
Okay.
So what was the point in the likes?
Yeah.
Well, to make you feel better.
Well, it was lying. The thing was, these were the bots and the Russian scammers and the Ukrainian scammers, okay, all getting in there and building sites. And, we'd see that this opinion had, 700,000, likes and shares and all this crap. And, of course, that was just them, and they had an entire farm of fake sites that would all interbreed and interconnect and make something look incredibly popular, when, in fact, it was, two jerks in a back room, just playing off each other.
With 6,000 iPhones.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the next big social network is email.
Mm-hmm.
Because newsletters are coming back.
Yep.
Newsletters are going to be your new websites.
Yep.
Right.
Man, we just put out a thing on how to do that, right? Had an article out there on LinkedIn that was, the best thing you do, you meet somebody in person, you use one of the, the CamCard app, and grab it, but just ask them, is it all right if I send you my newsletter? Easiest way to get somebody to say, yes, I want to be on your mailing list. Don't ask them, hi, can I spam you? No, that's not it. Hi, can I send you my newsletter? And newsletters are the way of the future, absolutely.
So what do you think about the super internet? Because of the way we're broke down by zones.
Oh, the splinternet. The splinternet. I think, honestly, it's a long time coming because there are too many, which is going to be good and bad. We're all going to be able to see things that are much more directly related to our interests and our hobbies and our habits and our and our positions and beliefs. And so we'll be able to see our own news, which we already do in many ways. I mean, really, we have two completely different news sources in this country right now, and you can run right down the list and ask people what the truth is, and you get two entirely different answers, and both can 100% back it up with facts. And that's where you run into a problem. Because they're running with different sets of facts, and they don't understand which ones actually are evidence that they're wrong.
Well,
they only see, with cognitive bias, they only see what makes them right.
Well, the only thing I see that is a problem is with the internet dividing into zones
the
like
splinternet,
that.
yeah.
Or this could create some major issues because now you're going to have idealism and stuff like that where people say, hey, that only our way is the right way, and they're not going to see a different way. And that's the same problem with people who don't travel the world and see different cultures and things like that.
That's right.
Which is going to end up really dividing.
Oh yeah.
Dividing people even more.
Well, you're breaking down into your tribe.
Yeah.
Is what you're doing, and you're insulating yourself from any outside messages.
Exactly.
And that never works out.
And governments will control.
You sure?
And governments will be able to control the outcome.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you've got governments that are saying, okay, this is what we're going to show on our internet.
Yes.
Okay, and because there's another one coming up, okay, that we'll get to in a minute, and I'll tie that one in. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. Oh, so one of the big things is Discord. You ever heard of Discord?
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of Discord? Mm-hmm. Okay. I didn't know what Discord was until about a year and a half ago. It's
Pokemon Discord.
Oh my God. Oh. So Discord is going to become mainstream. I thought it already was mainstream. I thought every gamer in this world uses Discord.
I didn't think it was that big of a deal because there's a lot of different services that are out there that are going...
The same thing.
Yeah, I'm going above what Discord is, so I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal.
Yeah, I guess it's going to be... I was going to talk about Oculus going thanks to Twitch, but I'm just going to jump over that, though. But the location data. Or do we want to go back to the 230? Section 230.
That 230 is, what they're saying is it's stumbling, and so we're not going to see that much from it.
Right.
So that's your 230 prediction from this particular
So the next
piece.
big fight is over location data.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yep. New York Times had a heck of an article this last week on that, in which they showed a map of 12 million users and around the country, and their location data that was available, because I don't think it was breached. I think this one company just has it because it's in their app, and so you've got 12 million people who are having their every motion tracked, exactly where they're going, at what time of day, what the address is.
Google.
Niantic. Google, yes.
Google.
Yeah.
If you don't think Google knows where you're at
hold on. It was only 12 million. Oh. If it were Google, it'd be 349 million.
I thought, but I think, but they were showing a regional data.
Yeah.
And they were showing what these people were, what they were doing, where they were at.
Yep.
That's scary as hell.
It was amazing to see.
What you were eating. No.
And
you weren't chewing enough times before swallowing. What's wrong with you? Your mom's going to be so disappointed in you.
Yeah, basically.
You get a notification on your phone, your mom's watching.
Yeah, exactly.
So, is that going to be reined in is the question. Okay, is that a privacy that we need to have?
Well, that goes back to Section 230. Kind of.
Sort of. Section 230 is kind of about kids and protecting them. And so protecting kids' location, you're right, is tied in there.
It's tied into
okay,
there.
you want to make sure that's protected. But at that point, look, if they're not going to do it for the kids, maybe they'll do it for themselves. That's another possibility.
That? All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is Libra.
Yes.
Fails to launch.
Well, that was pretty obvious.
Do you know what Libra was?
Yeah, the cryptocurrency that Facebook was getting with a whole bunch of different companies coming together to create their own currency, cryptocurrency, and governments really did not care for that.
I don't care until until a currency is backed up by something,
Yes.
I am not getting it.
Yeah, rather than a blockchain code. Yeah. That's what we got for backup.
We don't want quantum equations involved in our our dollars.
That's different.
Yeah, I don't.
So, all right, what else we got here? There was another one.
Well, let's see. I guess we go back up to Slack will become the target of coordinating investor shorts along with a big expo in business practices.
Yeah, for those who don't know what a short is, that's when you buy a stock hoping that the price will go down. So what you're doing is you're buying, you're paying for it before you actually buy it. So you're locking in at that price. And then when it goes down, you then fulfill your order at the lower price. And now you make money on the downside of a price move. You can make money on the ups and the downs in the stock market. And that's how you make money, is by short selling. You sell something you don't own yet and you buy it later. You have, I think...
Kind of almost sounds like insider trading.
It's, I mean, bad news, okay? You know somebody goes down at a certain time of year, every year, like right after Christmas, you know, your big retailers will drop.
Yeah.
Okay? Then you short sell it, okay? And then when it hits bottom, then you buy it, and you buy it twice. Okay, and you ride it back up again.
Right.
Now, you can get yourself caught in what's called a short squeeze when you do that. And I'm going to dive, because I saw a bunch of people doing this. They were following one stock for a company, that what would happen is every month the employees would get their stock shares, and then they would all run out and sell them like on the same day. And so people realized they could make money by buying, but that would then drive the price down.
Right.
So then you could buy it on the bottom and then ride it back up to the top again, and then it would happen every month. And you could just do that month after month. And it was like a 10, 12% swing.
Hey, we got 21 seconds.
Oh,
We want to wish
there was a
everybody
disaster.
Thanks for watching on the Happy Merry Christmas Eve show.
Yes.
Right? We want to wish you
And
a
all
Merry
that.
Christmas. And we will see you for the new year. If you got any questions, text Shamans at webeamtv.com or put them in the comments and we will get to you. Everybody have a wonderful Christmas. We'll see
Merry, happy everything, guys.
Happy everything. Yeah.
We got the plans cause we are the tech shamans. We understand cause we are the tech shamans. Dude, I got this cool thing to show you. Really, man? Yeah, it's far out and technical and stuff. Awesome. Yeah. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the tech shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the tech shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the tech shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the tech shamans. Cool.